What happened to Earth in Lost in Space? Season 2 of Lost in Space ended with a cliffhanger that definitely hooked many viewers in. I'm sure that as the fans are desperately waiting for the last season of the show to arrive, they're speculating about what could happen. What happened to the Fortuna? Are the astronauts of the mission still alive? If not, then who sent out the radio signature? What happened to the planet the Fortuna was orbiting? How did the Fortuna get lost in the first place? One of the mysteries that I hope will be solved in Season 3 is what happened to Earth. There are some clues that were put out throughout the show, but I feel like many people would want to know exactly what happened. Some clues, like the bad air on Earth, make sense. But then in Season 2, we find out that humans used perimeter fences to keep out other humans, not wild animals, which throws all the clues off course and makes no sense at all. But here's a theory I have about what could have happened to Earth. Let's start with the clues the writers dropped into the scenes throughout the show. In an episode of Season 1, we see a flashback scene where Penny and Maureen are walking into a store to buy John a new watch as a Christmas present, while hoping that he actually ends up coming. This scene delivers not one, but two clues. One was very subtle and was the first thing that happened. When Maureen and Penny walk into the store, they take off each of their masks and hang them on a rack before browsing the store. Why were they wearing masks? Maybe this ties to the fact that Earth cannot cater fresh air to every corner of the globe. We see that the air surrounding the store might not be healthy to breathe. Meanwhile, outside the Robinsons' family home, the air does look healthy. We see proof of this in two scenes, which I will get to later. The second clue is when Maureen is asking how easy it is to return the watch, because she is convinced that John won't come. Why would it be so hard to return a watch? It seems like something normal that you're expecting, but think about it. Why would it be so hard to return a watch? Even if it has been worn, what's the problem? Maybe there's a plague that spreads through material contact. Maybe that's why they need perimeter fences. Maybe the plague can make people think differently and do crazy things like break into houses, which is exactly why they need perimeter fences for protection. Now back to the air around the Robinsons' home. One clue is when John returns after 3 years and has a conversation with Judy outside their home, where Judy says that John shouldn't come to Alpha Centauri on her behalf and that he should talk to Will and Penny instead. In that scene, they talk about how the air has changed. The second scene is in Season 2, Episode 5, which is called Run. In that episode, we see a scene where Judy is having a flashback when she was going camping with her friends, and John and her were discussing what to do if something goes wrong at the camp. The air outside as they were packing everything seemed to be fine enough to breathe. There are also clues of healthy air near a park where John and Judy used to spend time. These clues are presented through flashbacks also from Season 2, Episode 5. One is when John is teaching young Judy how to ride a bike, and the other is when they're both racing. There was another scene where Maureen, Will, Penny, and Judy were discussing pros and cons about going to Alpha Centauri. One of the cons that were discussed about living on Earth was that they would never see another blue sky or another rainbow again. Why? Maybe pollution has increased so much over the years that the sky has just become black. Maybe the black sky blocks sunlight, and even if it rains without sunlight, there would be no rainbows. As you can see, everything makes sense so far, until it doesn't. There were multiple times in the show where it was addressed that back in Earth, they had perimeter fences, but instead of serving as a protection device for wild animals, they were used to keep out humans. When you think about it, it's not so complicated to understand. Maybe there was a war or political problems, or even terrorists. Maybe they were exposed to these problems and just needed a way of protection. This brings me back to the watch that she wanted to know how to return. Like I said, maybe there is a virus that can cause people to act differently and unnaturally, and the perimeter fences can keep them safe. After medical checkups and clearings, people without the virus can enter aboard on the Resolute. Maybe the pollution is a reason for the virus. Again, we still don't know. So that was my theory. In the end, I don't think we will get a look behind the glass on what happened to Earth because there are other plots in the story that the team must be focusing on. Other than throwing in a few things here and there, the first 2 seasons never really focused much on the past. They gave us a few important facts like how the Resolute came to be, Dr. Smith's backstory, how Will almost died as a newborn baby, and a scene of how Maureen traded with Hastings to get Will on board. Even in the scene where Maureen and Penny enter the store to buy a new watch for John as a Christmas present back in season 1, the main reason the scene was even there was to show how broken Maureen's and John's relationship was. She had absolutely no hope that John was going to come. She was even trying to make sure that Penny, Will, or Judy would even put in an effort to get something for John. That's how messed up it was. I get that she didn't want to be disappointed though. Again, like I said earlier, I think there are other drawbacks and other plots, and there simply won't be enough time to address what happened to the planet they were leaving behind. That is my opinion though. The clues they dropped off in the earlier seasons can be very likely missed if you're not paying close attention. Given these facts, I feel like they won't be telling us what will happen. The filming is set to be finished soon, so I believe the 3rd season will be released sometime in September or October of 2021. We'll just have to find out what happens then. I know that if I'm so desperate to find out what happens in the 3rd season, I can just watch the original 1960s show, but I won't because there's a carrot man in this show, and that just sets the standards pretty low for me. The story of the Robinsons will soon continue. Thank you for watching.